Hey guys, Thrasher here. The update is finally here, maintenance is over, we have a lot of new quality of life changes, a little bit of new content, a new banner, and some new characters. Let's talk about it right now. Okay, so this content update is a little bit different than others. It may be because of the maintenance, and maybe for some other reason, but all of the actual things that have changed in the game are not in the news. A good majority of them are, so we'll go through the news and talk about that, and then I've actually taken some notes on some things that I've noticed that are not in the news, and we'll talk about those after. So the first thing we're going to do is go to menu, go to news, and let's talk about this new banner. So this banner is awesome. I'll have a full review of it, probably have that out tomorrow. There's 4 brand new Sparking characters, and the 5th Sparking character is still very good. It's Android 18, so she's still a quality unit. And then the actual 4 are Super Saiyan Goten and Super Saiyan Trunks, that we have a general idea of what's going on with them. One is melee based, one is blast based. They are very powerful hybrid Saiyan units. And then the other 2 would be this fused with Kami Piccolo. I believe he's good now. He's definitely good now. But he's going to actually move into this sort of regeneration team, regeneration meta that we're going to see very soon. He's a blast-based unit. He is very strong on the blast side, as is Cell. They're both regeneration units. And then the 3rd regeneration unit that we're probably going to see in a banner or 2 is Buu. Majin Buu. I don't know which Buu it's going to be specifically. Obviously, they're all regeneration. But we'll see more regeneration units, and I see that being a very viable, very powerful team in the future. So then the last one is this guy, Android 16. He is broken. I'm not going to go through the character as a whole, but I can tell you he does an absolute ton of damage with his self-destruct. He's an excellent tank. His stats are very good. He's a unit that you're going to want to pull. So all 4 of these units are very, very good units. Like I said, I'll have a full review of the banner, but I can tell you right now, it's not going to be a 2-star Dragon Ball banner. You will want to spend money on this banner, even with the guaranteed Sparking tickets. Now, it may be a good idea to wait until you've used your guaranteed Sparking tickets to figure out exactly how many you want to use, but I guarantee you will be using full price crystals on this right here, for sure. Okay, so let's go ahead and back out, and then let's talk about the actual guaranteed Sparking tickets. Let's open that up. So each day you have the ability to get 1 guaranteed Sparking ticket for a total of 10 overall. Yesterday, which you may have missed because of the maintenance issues, but if you didn't, yesterday you had to use 15 energy and you got your guaranteed Sparking ticket. Today you had to use 15 energy again to get your guaranteed Sparking ticket. I don't know if that will be the case for the next 8 days, because they just say, let's see here, complete all kinds of missions to collect Ultra Summon Assist tickets number 5. So I'm willing to bet there's a good chance it's just use 15 energy every single day, but it may be something else. Now with that being said, like I said, you can get up to 16 tickets. You only get 10 from this. The other 16 are down here. There's going to be events. Let's just scroll through these characters. These are the characters you can get. These events down here. So the next one coming up is the Android 19 event, which is going to come back. All you have to do is get 70 equipment items and use 50 energy, and that will get you both of the tickets for that event. There's 3 events that each have these exact requirements that'll get you 6 more tickets. So the Android 19, you have to get 70 equipment and 50 energy. Same with Raditz, 70 equipment, 50 energy, and then Nappa, 70 equipment, 50 energy. But the key here is, in order to get all 6 of those, it's going to take a minimum of about two weeks and 2 days, I want to say, because you can't even get these last 2 tickets until the 15th when this event comes around. So what you might want to do is get your first ticket, maybe even get your second ticket, and then after you've done those 2 tickets, you start pulling full price on the banner. Like I said, we'll go into that later, but just keep in mind you can get up to 3 guaranteed Sparking tickets. Let's go ahead and back out. And then the other major thing here is if you spend money, there is a new starter pack which has the Piccolo in it. The Piccolo is very good. I would say this is probably worth it. Maybe not quite as worth it as it was when I recommended grabbing the Instant Transmission Goku pack, but it's pretty up there. I don't think he's the best unit in the game, but he is a very good unit. It's probably worth the money if you are a person that spends money on this game. Now, the other problem here is pretty much everything else that was changed is not in the update, and I've looked through here a pretty fair amount. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go off my notes at this point, and I'm going to run you guys through the other things that I've noticed. The other major thing, if we back out, is there are new hard mode missions. So we'll go to story, and then we will go to select story, switch to hard mode, and as you can see, part 2 is available now. If you go into this, there are, I want to say 12, and 1 doesn't count. Yeah, so there are 11 actual combat missions that you can do. They give you 10 Z tickets, but the major thing here is book 1 chapter 10. This gives you the most experience out of these. It is not the most experience per energy in the game. That is still hard mode, Part 1, Book 5, Chapter 6. If you need to level characters that way, that's the best way to do it outside of the Cybermen missions. But if we go into Book 1, Chapter 10, we'll see here if we go to rewards that this actually gives us gravity machine fuel. This is the best way to farm gravity machine fuel other than the super experience missions on Saturdays. So if you're short on those, make sure you're hitting this up and farming this. Two more things to note before we talk about the actual UI changes. So let's talk about the actual tickets first. There are more Masters Pack tickets that you can get with your rare medals if you go to menu and then you go to shop and then you go down to exchange shop, click on rare medal, and you will see that there are 10 more Masters Pack 1 summon tickets for 400 apiece. So you need 4,000 more rare medals. I'm going to buy those. I do think it's worth it. Until they start costing an insane amount of rare medals, I would say it's worth it to pull on that. Obviously, you don't have a great chance of pulling an amazing unit, but there's still Super Vegeta, there's Super Trunks, there's Android 17. There are multiple units on that banner that are worth spending rare medals for. I probably wouldn't spend full price crystals on them, but I definitely would spend rare medals. With that being said, it's become pretty obvious at this point that there are going to be many ways to use your rare medals in the future to get sparking characters, so make sure that you are saving all of your rare medals pretty much specifically for sparking characters. I wouldn't be using them for almost anything else unless it's an absolute need. Maybe a new level cap comes out in the future and you need to buy whatever new Super Soul is out that very day so you can be competitive in PvP. That's okay, but if it's something that you don't need absolutely right now, do not spend rare medals on it. Okay, so the last thing to talk about before we actually talk about the UI is when you're in PvP matches, there is the ability, if you tap the top left corner in a PvP match now, it'll bring up a menu and it gives you the option to forfeit the match. So rather than rage quitting out and getting the double RP loss, having to deal with the other issues that come around if you want to just quit because you know you've lost the match, you now can just forfeit, you lose the RP for losing the match, and you can just move on with your life. So that is a great addition to PvP in general. I'm not a person who forfeits. I'll just sit there and take the beating. But if you are a person who doesn't want to sit there and just get beat on, that's your option now. Okay, so now the next thing is the actual UI. Let's look at a couple different things here. So if we go to menu and then we go to characters, you'll notice that this UI has almost completely changed. They've changed all the buttons down here. There's a couple things going on here. So if we select a character, you'll see that there's the Soul Boost option now that takes you straight to Soul Boost, so that's cool. I actually don't know if that was there in the last update. I never really noticed it. That one might have been there. But the other major things, and one more thing, I forgot to throw this in to this UI area while I was first recording this video. If you actually click on party formation here, you'll see at the top that there's an ability bonus, and for this team it's 770%. I'm not going to get too crazy into the specifics of the math behind that, but essentially what that percentage is telling you is how well the Z abilities between these 6 characters synergize. I've seen it go as high as 1200%, so obviously this is not the most synergistic team on Z ability, but that's essentially what that ability bonus means. It's not necessarily the most synergistic team just because it's super high, because there are other ways that these units synergize that is not factored into that ability bonus, but it does give you a good basic overview of how well the team synergizes. You obviously want that value to be as high as you can get it within reason. The big one is the equipment UI change. So as you'll notice below all of these characters, they each have 2 equipment items equipped to them, and they have ratings on them. So you see the Turles has an A and an S rating, the Roshi has an A and an S, my Super Saiyan 2 Gohan has a B and an A. That's cool because now I know how good the equipment items are. If we go to equipment and we look at these, this actually helps. So before we did have the change where now you have the orange dots rather than just green dots. You can have orange or green. Orange tells you that it's very good. That's great if you're just going for the very best rolls, but if you're someone who wants to add a little more leeway in the equipment that they'll keep so they're not farming forever, they have now added actual letter ratings so you have a better idea of how good the equipment item actually is. Now it's only based on the current rolls of the equipment item in comparison to the max and minimum rolls if everything were unlocked. So for example, you can see that this equipment item has a ranking of C. That's because it has a very high roll on the first slot, but it only has 1 slot open. So the easy way to figure this out is if you're someone who obviously wants to keep the best equipment items, but you want to add a little extra leeway, what I do is obviously keep all C's, but I will keep some D's. If it's an E, I get rid of it immediately. So as you'll notice here, I have a few D's. That's because if we look at this C, which is an orange roll, 9% is an orange. I'll keep anything that's close to an orange, but not quite. So this is a D, and that's an 8.2, which is close to a 9, but not quite. So all I have to do is, as I'm going through here, I get rid of any of these Vegeta equipments that have an E on them, and then I don't have to look at the C's. I know I can keep those. The only ones I have to actually look at to kind of make a decision on are the D's. And then once you start rolling them, you'll see that this equipment item has an S ranking on it. That's simply because overall it has an extremely high roll in comparison to the max roll. So amazing. That's a huge change. And one thing I want to note is, even though this update was a little short on content, or some might even say a lot short on content, we're seeing a lot of quality of life changes near the beginning of the cycle of this game, which is good because if you look at the life cycle of other games that were popular and they just tried their best to pump out content ahead of their ability to actually produce things. A good example is PUBG. For anyone that plays PUBG, the dev team was stressing pushing out content, adding features to the game. That's cool, and it made the game a little more robust, but the problem is they weren't doing all the quality of life things that they needed to be doing, and the game is just clunky now in comparison to other Battle Royale games. That is not what we want to happen here, and I don't think that's what's going to happen, because they're doing a very good job of pumping out quality of life changes. And with that being said, that's pretty much all I have for this video. If you guys think I missed anything, throw it down in the comments, and I'll make sure to highlight it for you. We can talk about it, and if you like this content, make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.